Okay, well, welcome back to the 67 step reviews, the 67 different frameworks, habits, and methodologies that you need to maximize your life's potential. Uh, Ty Lopez is an internet entrepreneur, author, and investor, and his flagship product is the 67 steps. He promoted that in 2015 with a video called Here in My Garage. He's standing in his garage in front of a Lamborghini that he just bought, and basically, in a nutshell, he's saying, I was able to purchase this Lamborghini and this mansion in the Hollywood Hills because of all these books I read. And he calls that having knowledge, and certainly seems pretty reasonable. It kind of echoes the idea of Warren Buffett when he says, the more you learn, the more you earn. Hard to not argue with the fact that the more good ideas you have in your head, the better decisions you'll make. And your life boils down to the decisions you make. And this is review of step number 63. It was called Alexander the Great's Aggression and the Truth About Your Age, the best way to counter any opposition. And we mentioned Alexander the Great in a previous lesson, but he was a Macedonian king that had an empire that stretched from Greece to Egypt. And he was able to get that through killing, pillaging, and ruthless aggression. And certainly we want to copy some of his characteristics and not others. You take the framework of take the best and leave the rest. We certainly want to achieve our goals, but remember, you don't have to conquer the world. You just have to conquer yourself. And we use Alexander the Great as an example here because he was an IP and not a PI. What the heck does that mean? I described it in a previous lesson, but it's basically a personality type. PI stands for patiently impatient. That's the one you don't want to be. That's the people that talk about their 5, 10, 30-year goals, their New Year's resolutions when it's, August. And you don't want to be like that. That's people that are always planning but never taking action. They're waiting for things to be lined up, but they never get off dead center. You want to be the opposite and be an IP like Alexander the Great. He was impatiently patient. He wasn't talking about his 30-year goals. He took action today on his today goals. And, most likely you'll live today and tomorrow, but 20 years is not a guarantee that you'll be alive. Hopefully you will be, but start immediately with what you have. Another person that personified this impatiently patient habit is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was born in 1947 in Austria, and in his teenage years he decided he wanted to use bodybuilding to immigrate to California to be in Hollywood in the movies. And he started immediately with what he had, which wasn't much. He didn't have electricity, he didn't even have running water in his house, but that didn't stop him. He immediately started doing push-ups on the grass, pull-ups on tree limbs, and sit-ups by having his friends hold his feet. And for that, he was rewarded with the most successful bodybuilder of all time. And someone that didn't personify this, they were a patiently impatient person, or a PI, was someone that was at Ty's house one time that was trying out for a talent agency that Ty had started. She was playing piano at Ty's house and playing beautiful, remarkable music. And when she finished up, Ty was commending her on her talents. And he asked her how much she practiced today, and she said none. And that was all he needed to hear. You always want to be the type of person that you want to invest in. And the people that you want to invest in, the people on the rise, tend to practice their craft literally every day, including today. You could say that maybe she was just having an off day, but success leaves clues. Why didn't she practice today? She's competing in Hollywood. She's here auditioning for a talent agency, and yet she didn't practice her craft today. So how serious are you? And, the reason that we talk about Alexander the Great again is because he was serious about taking action. And we learn about your age is different than you traditionally have been taught. You may think your age is how long ago since you were born, but Ty wants to reframe your thoughts and your perception. And he says, how old you are is really how many more years you have left to live. And certainly we don't know that, but that's the point. This will create a sense of urgency. If you're 40 years old and you get cancer next year and pass away, you're older than an 80-year-old that still is going to live for 10 more years. And measuring life by what you have left is the key to lighting a fire in your belly, Ty says. And we want to be impatiently patient because we want to start immediately. Remember, the sooner you start, the sooner you get good at it. And the sooner you start, the sooner it becomes habitual. And everything's about your habits. And remember that, speaking of habits, the best way to have everlasting habits is through frequency and not duration. You're much better off building a habit of doing 5 push-ups every day for a year than you are to do 40 push-ups 3 times per week. And maybe that's more volume, but again, it's the frequency that's most important. Again, I mentioned in a previous lesson, the most effective way to learn a language is to adopt this impatiently patient methodology and learn 1 sentence in a foreign language every day for a year. That's a lot better than trying to binge. And people say they're going to start their new diet in January, but it's August, so that means you're okay with keeping bad habits going until you start the good habit. But remember what Warren Buffett says: the chains of a habit are too weak to be felt until they're too strong to be broken. And Ty says, people fear trying new things because it may not work out, but the opposite of fear is abundance. And he was explaining how he suggested one of his friends start out playing the piano and go out and buy a $50 keyboard. But his friend pushed back, I don't want to spend $50 because I may not like playing keyboard. But Ty says, don't act like you're immortal. Don't act like $50 is ever the only money you're ever going to make. Be an experimentalist. One of his things that he suggested for you to do every year is to run 100 experiments every year, or about 2 per week. I'm on experiment number 39 right now, and it's amazing. And he gives some examples of in the health, wealth, love, and happiness pillars, how you can be impatiently patient and get started today. If in the health pillar, you can go for a 30-minute walk every day, 5 push-ups a day, start making your meals today, even just 1 meal. In the wealth pillar, you can set up a separate checking account that automatically withdraws money from your first account to this new account, $10 a week, every week for a year. That will add up quickly. Whatever you can do it today. Remember, like Dan Pena says, high performance people aren't afraid of being wrong, and high performance people practice their skill until they're too good to ignore. And in the love pillar, call an old friend or ask out that person that you wanted to ask out today. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Today it's perfect. And in the happiness pillar, you can write down the things you're grateful for and practice more of the things that already make you happy. Just do more of them. And his questions for you at the end of this lesson are, what's an example of a long-term goal you've had for health, wealth, love, or happiness that should have been done much quicker? And what is something you can do right now that you will impatiently begin on and then patiently commit to? Thanks so much. See you on review number 64. Take care.